But if I get money from our country, I'll do something nice with it, like give it to charity or give it to the White House while we restore the White House. And we're doing a great job in the White House. As you know, the ballroom is under construction. It's going to be. They've been trying to get it for 150 years, and it's really. I think it's going to be fantastic. But we'll see what happens.
That is not your building. You
Correct.
don't own that building. That would be like me going over to Trump Tower and saying I'm going to build a disco. You know, they've wanted a disco in Trump Tower for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, come on, man. You don't own that building. That is the people's building. You don't own it.
Woke Hollywood actor Robert De Niro has graced the airwaves of MSNBC with an insightful message to share, claiming that millions of Americans believe Donald Trump, not because Donald Trump is someone who clearly delivers on his promises, such as closing the border, deporting illegals, ending the war in Gaza and so on, but because these Americans are not watching enough of the mainstream media. Listen to this.
They're used to seeing Trump do his stuff, and they talk and they listen, and that's the truth to them because they don't listen to anything else. It's somewhere way out in the Midwest, somewhere out out west, in certain places, the rural places. That's the truth because he gets the airtime, and I think that we need more airtime.
Yes, many Americans are not brainwashed by the leftist media and have stopped watching networks like MSNBC and CNN altogether. Yet Robert De Niro claims that he has a solution, and that is to push more anti-Trump news content or stop reporting on the president altogether.
The news media could find ways to kind of ignore or tamp down nonsense from Trump. It's just total nonsense. But those people out there listen to it and assume if it can be on the air and it's out there, it's the truth.
So what is the truth according to Robert De Niro? It is that Kamala Harris was incredibly popular, Joe Biden is as sharp as a tack, Stephen Miller is a Nazi, and Donald Trump is on his way to destroying the world.
Donald Trump wants to destroy not only the city, but the country, and eventually he could destroy the world.
Joining us now is Chief Economist at the Institute of Public Affairs, Adam Crichton. Adam, thank you so much for joining us once again. Robert De Niro, I mean, he's had Trump derangement syndrome for some time now, but isn't it ironic to hear him on MSNBC of all places to say that the American people who don't watch the mainstream media are certainly not getting the truth?
No, it's just extraordinary. I mean, that station, MSNBC, has really been the biggest purveyor of misinformation, I would say, of all the networks in the US. There's the Russiagate scandal, you know, the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. There was Trump said that Nazis are very fine people. There are so many examples of this. And, you know, it's also a very insulting comment to ordinary Americans who can make up their own minds. I mean, one of the glories now of the media landscape is that there is so much choice and people can, you know, fact check various claims. There are podcasts, there are newspapers online, there's, of course, cable. So, look, I just think he's very bitter that the Trump presidency at the moment has had quite a few wins in recent weeks. And I think there's a lot of anger about that. Actually, there was a movie, I think, in the late 1990s that De Niro was in called Analyze This. And I think he played a criminal who had to see a psychiatrist to get a better understanding of the world. Well, you know, maybe this is a chance for art to finally imitate life.
Yes.
Life imitate art, rather.
Yes, I think so. You know, you look on MSNBC's webpage, I visit it constantly, and you barely see the president getting any recognition. I mean, they moved on from his significant achievement ending the war in Gaza in a matter of days. A matter of days. Correct. It absolutely is. And as you say, De Niro's comments are pretty insulting to the American people. They can absolutely make up their own mind and get the truth absolutely anywhere else apart from MSNBC and CNN.
Certainly.
But Adam, finally, after nine... Oh, sorry, no, you go.
No, I was just going to say the left's always criticising Fox News, but I honestly think MSNBC makes Fox News look like the BBC in 1965. I mean, it's so far left and extreme that, I mean, it's a comedic statement of De Niro. Sorry.
No, I couldn't agree more, but I'm eager to talk to you about this meeting that's finally taken place after 9 long months. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has finally met with Donald Trump at the White House. And just the fact that it has taken 9 months is not a joke when you consider how much the president gets done every single day. And it's taken more than 270 days for the president to make time for Anthony Albanese. And you look at what he has done in that time. I mean, Donald Trump has had one-on-one meetings with leaders of Israel, Argentina, India, South Africa, Ukraine, Russia, the UK, France. I mean, it goes on and on. He's met with more than 20 world leaders. It is only now that we are approaching the 1-year mark of Trump 2.0 that this meeting has finally taken place. So certainly shows you where we stand with the United States, which I think, of course, makes sense when you look at how Anthony Albanese is running Australia. But today, of course, the two leaders signed a major $8.5 billion rare earths and critical minerals deal. And the president also showed his support for the AUKUS submarine deal, insisting that it is moving along rapidly. But it was, of course, this question by Sky News political editor Andrew Clennell that is getting headlines right around the world, with the president blasting Australia's ambassador to the US, Kevin Rudd.
I don't know anything about him. I mean, if he said bad, then maybe he'll like to apologize. I really don't know. Did an ambassador say something bad about him? Don't tell me. I don't. Where is he? Is he still working for you?
Yeah.
You said bad?
Before I took this position, Mr. President.
I don't like you either. I don't, and it probably never will.
Adam, can I please get your reaction?
Well, look, I mean, I think actually the president was very gracious, I think, to Kevin Rudd. It could have gone a lot worse than that. I think Trump showed himself to be a great statesman there, really. I mean, the things that Rudd said were really nasty. You know, the most destructive president in US history and various other things like that. I mean, I think actually that Rudd got off pretty well from that exchange. But I should add that, you know, I really think Rudd should step aside from that position. I think, you know, this has put the Australian government, I think, in a very awkward position because, you know, of course, they can't sack Rudd now because it looks like we're servile to the United States then. But, of course, Rudd can, you know, he can find another job. He's got extensive contacts. I'm sure there's plenty of jobs in the UN that he could take, and he hasn't taken them, which I think, you know, I think it's bad for Australia because I know, you know, Trump kind of played it down there, but it is embarrassing that you have, you know, one of the best allies of the United States and the ambassador says Trump is the most destructive president in US history. I mean, that's not really tenable in my books.